I found out about this story on Instagram, and to be honest, that's probably one of the few places where I would actually find out about this. And for a while, there has been a lot of bad stories that have come out of Georgia. And finally, I've come across one that shows a good light or a good spotlight on Georgia, even if it only for a brief moment. So, if y'all remember last year, Robert F. Smith, the multi-billionaire and the wealthiest um, black man in America, or black person in America, period, made a huge wave, or I guess you could say a huge shift, when he decided to pay off the tuition for the graduating seniors of Morehouse College. And he was basically putting out a message for people to pay it forward. Well, this guy right here, whose name is Frank Baker, heard that message and decided to do the same thing, but for the school that was across the street. And that school was Spelman College. And he decided that he was going to put his money, with some of his money, together to pay off the tuition for the graduating seniors of Spelman College. Now, this did not get any type of news attention or news traction as far as I'm concerned, but it doesn't surprise me, and nor should we expect it, especially with a lot of stuff going on down there right now with the Ahmaud Arbery case and with this virus. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article coming from Forbes that was posted on May 20th, 2020. 1 year ago, Robert Smith, the wealthiest African American, stunned the nation by pledging to pay off the student loans of the 2019 class of Morehouse College. While giving his commencement speech at the graduation ceremony of the historically black all-male college, Smith also issued a challenge. "I've got the alumni over there, and this is a challenge to you alumni," Smith said at the time. "Let's make sure every class has the same opportunity going forward, because we are enough to take care of our community." Smith's $34 million gift got the attention of Frank Baker, who has known Smith for years. Like Smith, Baker is an African American who found business success by starting a private equity firm that invests in technology companies. Smith and Baker both started their Wall Street careers in 1994 in the mergers and acquisition groups of Goldman Sachs. Baker has taken Smith's challenge seriously, and this week announced he would be paying the tuition balances of about 50 seniors who are graduating from Spelman College, the all-women historically black college in Atlanta. Robert was fortunate enough to go to Cornell and Columbia, and him giving to Morehouse was a nod to the recognition that the majority of African Americans going to college are graduating from historically black institutions. Now, that's the interesting part about the whole thing. Robert F. Smith did not go to an HBCU. Cornell and Columbia are PWIs, which stands for predominantly white institutions. But he paid off the student loans for the graduating seniors of an HBCU. I think that was the true stun right there. Not just the fact that he actually did it, but the fact of what school he decided to do it to. That's why a lot of people were upset, or when the whole Dr. Dre thing came back around after he did that, because it's like, Dr. Dre, like, you did this for some students that went to a PWI who most likely had their tuition paid for anyway. But the people at HBCU definitely could have used that. And last I checked, Dr. Dre didn't go to college. So I think that's why a lot of people were upset when that happened. And it kind of sent a shockwave when Robert F. Smith did it. Here's a guy who, if I'm not mistaken, last I checked, his net worth was like $4.5 billion. He could have went to any school, not some little HBCU, even though Morehouse has a prestigious title behind it, mainly because of its alumni. But either way, we commended him for that, just like I'm commending this guy for this. And it says that he graduated from the University of Chicago, another PWI. He says, "We need to make sure the schools continue to be viable. We are all part of the same community. It doesn't matter if I went to the school or not." The founder of Cirrus Capital in New York, Baker, age 47, decided to go about things a little bit differently than Smith. He wanted to help high-achieving Spelman students who could not afford to get to the finish line and graduate. Baker had been in discussions with Spelman's board of trustees about putting together a program, but accelerated his plans after the pandemic hit, and he got a call from Spelman a week ago. He was told there was about 50 high-achieving seniors who had balances and needed help. The people who my heart really goes out to are women in their senior year who can't afford it anymore and have to drop out. These are the most resilient people, because if they run out of money their senior year, you know they were out of money their sophomore year and just made it work. Baker has spent $250,000 to cover the tuition balances of about 50 women so they could graduate this year with no money owed to Spelman College. He has committed to continuing to spend no less than $1 million to help Spelman seniors in similar situations for the next 3 years. These are the women we need in the workforce, says Baker. They are going to make a difference. Now look at that. That guy has enough money to spread for the next 3 years. That's the definition of somebody who has their finances in order. But I definitely commend this guy. Like I said, this is my first time ever hearing about him. I already knew about Robert F. Smith before he did what he did. It's just that the world came to know who he was after he did that. And even after that happened, and as many publications was written up about him, and newspapers did see him in a couple of newspapers at my old job, he still remained to be low key. And it seems to me like this guy's pretty much the same exact way. And it's amazing that him and Robert F. Smith pretty much got started in the same career fields around the same time. So they know each other's backgrounds, which is a very dope thing to hear as well. But definitely, this guy heard Robert F. Smith's challenge. He heard his call and he responded in kind. Because I don't think many people did, unfortunately. I mean, it could have been some people maybe like silent donors. And you know, that's okay as well, as long as they did it. But I think Robert F. Smith's challenge and message is more so to the people who are graduating. And hopefully they took heed to the message as well.